Welcome back to another episode of Magic's in the Mess, the go-to podcast for ambitious women ready to stop pretending, start aligning, and finally build success your way. I'm your host, Danielle McKinley, speaker, business and wealth strategist, and your go-to problem-solving hype girl. Here, we'll help you unlock powerful mindset shifts, discover your magic, and bring your dream life into reality. Each week, I'll deliver raw stories, proven business strategies, and powerful transformations with industry leaders to activate the magic in you. So if you're ready to ditch the pressure, the performative BS, and the noise telling you who you should be, hit subscribe and let's make some magic. All right, friends. So you're posting, you're sharing your expertise. People are watching, liking, and commenting. So why the fuck aren't they buying? Well, today we're talking about messaging, content, and what needs to happen for visibility to turn into sales with my friend Ati Grinspun. I met her at Haley Westfall's experience, the Table Experience Live, and I immediately loved her energy. You guys, her brand is so clear. I understood what she did, who she helped, and what she stood for immediately. And what stood out for me was the clarity, because I know I struggle with clarity, and I know that many women that I speak to struggle with it too. So Ati is going to help us get some clarity today.
Yes.
Help me welcome her to Magic's in the Mess. She helps women build profitable personal brands so they can become seen, known, and paid. Ati, welcome.
Hello, my friend. Thank you for the amazing introduction.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here because, like I mentioned, I too struggle with messaging and showing up online. And I know that it's something that everyone's constantly pivoting and tweaking. And it's like the number one thing that they're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? So before that you did this, though, you were a flair bartender. And you also built a photography business. So I want to know, how did you end up in the work that you do today?
I love that question. Okay, so number one, in 2021, I wrote my first book, and I had to actually go back years and years and years and years into like discovering who I was. And the biggest discovery of all of that was back in 2019. Okay, I'm old. I'm old.
Not long ago.
My first business was actually a bartending school in Argentina. I don't know if you even knew that.
I did not know that.
For the people that ask me, like, how do you have all these ideas? How do you can think out of the box or whatever? I've been building businesses for freaking ever, right? I am an entrepreneur at heart. And like one of the biggest discoveries that I did was when I had the school and I was a teacher in my own school, because you can become a bartender in Argentina when you're 18. So at 19, my biggest thing was people would get out of the different courses that we were offering, and I would sit down with them and I would ask them, okay, where do you want to work? Do you want to work at a speakeasy? Do you want to work at a hotel? Do you want to work at a 5-star hotel? Do you want to, right? So then I would help them put together the resume. I would help them how to show up, also in how they would dress, what drinks they would make. And one of the biggest things for me was, oh my God, I was helping brand these people that were coming out. And this was something that came very natural to me. I never understood that was branding until years and years and years later. And one of the biggest things that people used to tell me all my life was, oh my God, when you put it in that way, it feels so easy. Or when you like show me how I'm actually like shining, right? Because, and some of these were not shining. They were guys, they were not using those words, but were like, oh, I never saw myself on that light. So for me, it was like, oh my God, you have the perfect personality for this. Like they would tell me something, I'm like, oh my God, and you can do this and this and this and this, right? So in my brain, I could see it before anybody saw it. So fast forward, when I was building my photography business, and I went through all the genres, right? I went through like baby photography and this and whatever. But when I landed in personal branding photography, and I was having the interviews with my clients, like we would be like, okay, what is the story you're telling? Who is your client? Like, tell me what is your genius? People would be like, well, I don't want to brag. Or they would be like, oh, yeah, but, I don't know. Who's your client? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? And that's when it started clicking to me how much people were hiding. Because when I was building my photography business, and you mentioned me being a flair bartender.
Yeah.
I went from having the bartending school, then I was hired here in Las Vegas. That's how I ended up in the States to come and perform and all of this. And I worked at a bar for 16 years. Like I travel all over the world, whatever. So I wasn't doing any of this work. It wasn't until I decided that at some point I wanted to leave, right, that I started building my photography business. And the biggest thing for me was I was a little scared. I was, leaving my job to build this business. And then I started like taking photos of these women that for me were fucking rock stars. Women with businesses that I could only dream of at the time.
Yeah.
And I would ask them all these questions and they would be like, well, And I'm like, girl, you're fucking amazing. Like, what do you mean you don't want to brag? Like, that is the whole name of the game. Not bragging, but really showing your genius, really showing who you are, really showing why are you amazing. And that was actually one of the questions that I had, that I was like, why are you amazing?
Yeah, why are we calling this bragging? Like, this is something, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit, that's me. Ati's calling me out right now. Why are we calling it bragging when we're simply being like, this is the value that we put out into the world?
Yes. And one of the things that was so clear to me was, number one, the mirror that I was finding in myself. I was like, oh, what I'm feeling is universal. That was number one. Number two, I was like, courage is the name of the game. Courage was the name of the game, because I was challenging a lot of these women. Okay, how can we show all of this magic that you have in a way that people can not only love you, but they can also hate you a little bit, right? The people that are not for you are not for you. So how can we double down on this? And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah. So what's funny is you're like, I didn't recognize this for years and years and years. And what's so funny about when you step into your power and you step into alignment and you step into, like, I call it your soul's work.
Yeah.
You then get this reflection and you're like, oh my gosh, there were always signs.
There was always signs. Like, oh my God, it just gave me chills. And what was incredible was when the pandemic happened, because I was building the photography business. By the way, I was already starting to do kind of like mini events. I was doing like a lot of the photography. I had a membership back in the day that was like, come network, help each other with photos. Right. So they would, so there was this networking kind of thing already going on. And then the pandemic happened, and a lot of my clients were like, well, now I have all of these photos. How do I pivot online? And I, at the time, again, I was like, well, I don't know. I'm going to open a Facebook group and I'm just going to show up in there every day and teach what I know. And that became into this one-on-one personal branding coaching sessions. And I remember I was charging, I think, like $125 for an hour. And then I was like, oh my God, I have so much stuff in here, because I was going live on the Facebook group every single day. Yeah. And I was like, I literally have like 3 months worth of content. And somebody was like, why don't you do a course? And I was like, what? I'm not a coach. I'm a photographer. And she was like, says who? I was like, oh, yeah, says who? And I was like, I don't know.
Let's pause there for a second, because one of the things that I talk about all the time is believing before you have proof, right? And so sometimes it takes one person to unlock the belief in you.
Yes.
To go, oh my gosh, wait a second, I'm onto something. I have value that could really change lives. And so pay attention to the people that are believing in you, that are saying the compliments to you, that you're like, and inside you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I believe that.
Well, think about it, right?
Activating belief.
But that is, okay, you and I met on an event, okay?
Yeah.
But why do we love listening to podcasts? Why do we love going to events? It's not necessarily just the people that we meet, which that's amazing, networking, all the things that we know. But it's like we get realizations, right? We get mirror things that we don't even know about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was actually, so this person said that to me, but then now I know that's the work that I do with a lot of my clients. Yes, I can teach you messaging. I do that. I teach you messaging. I teach you business, all of this. But if you don't see yourself as that person, either you're not going to do it, you're not going to believe in it. You're not going to do it to its full potential. You're not going to be fully expressed on the things that you are saying, doing, putting out there. So everything comes from that full expression, like my whole brand, be you, right? Which is being you 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this because I love a podcast that's like, give me things I can implement right away, right? And so I know that that's a lot of what my audience loves too. So you go through your story, we just learned that there were so many encounters where you witnessed women shrinking themselves.
Yes.
And you witnessed them struggling to clearly articulate their value, their why, and be confident in it. So based on what you've seen and who you've coached, why do you think women with a lot of experience and a lot of value still struggle to explain what they clearly do?
Okay, I'm gonna give you 3 whys and the one thing that can take you can take them out of there. So number 1, I actually think that as we are growing up, right, like in your 20s and in your 30s, we're kind of running after whatever we think is success, and we actually do not know ourselves enough. So think about it, right? We are born into a family, and like there is so much talk on the internet and podcasts or whatever around what happens between 0 to 7, but it's not just that. Is we're born into a family, we're born into society, we're born into whatever, a school, whatever it is. When are you being taught to stop and be, what do you really think about this? And for me, this was something that I thought was missing for me when I started my own self-discovery journey. But I try to do that with my son now, and I think that there is more knowledge about this now. But in general, none of us were told to, okay, but what do you really think about this? Can you actually stop? And what is your opinion on this? And on top of that, did we grow up in an environment that actually welcomed that?
Yeah.
So is the learning to look at ourselves and what do I think about this? But then also in me growing up, and this, nothing against my mom, which by the way, in the first book, I kind of threw her under the bus, and then I did all this healing and I was like, oh, but she didn't know any better. I'm your mother. This is how things are. You know, I'm coming from a Latino house. My mom is a manifestor, Gemini. This is the way. And this is the way. And I don't care what the fuck you think. Right? So that's number 1. The self-discovery part, that we actually get to our 30s or 40s. We have a lot of expertise, but we don't really know where we stand because we never really stop to investigate what our belief system is.
Okay.
Number 2 is, if you had any kind of unsafe situations growing up, and I'm going to bring mine up. For the longest time, I never really talked about this, but like I had a situation when I was 10 years old of abuse. So I didn't even remember this story until I was 27. I was leaving a therapy session and I was like, what am I, is this a memory? Am I thinking this? What the fuck is happening here? And it took another 5 years for me to actually process that I had abuse. So for somebody like me, which I was always told I was a lot, I talk a lot, like I was loud or whatever, being in my power and shining was actually a trigger, and it was not safe. Because at some point in my life, that was not safe. And at some degree, you do not need to have an abuse in your life to have this. But if you were like told, little girls don't talk like that, little girls are not allowed, little girl or good girls, whatever, all the way to having an abuse, and that didn't feel safe. Think about you trying to put your ideas, your beliefs, your opinions out on the fucking internet.
Yeah.
So of course we're going to shrink because we are scared of what other people think. We are scared it's going to be unsafe. And we were never told to actually stop and actually investigate our own belief system. So one of the biggest parts of work that I do with my clients, and it's almost like the work that you were saying, like we do this over and over and over, and like the tweaking, and there is value to that, but there is also, where's the line in the sand where I'm committing to this, I'm testing it, and from here I'm tweaking instead of I'm changing my mind. Those are two different things.
Oh, yeah.
So what I do with my clients when they first start working with me is that clarity work, which is all these questions about, okay, what is my expertise? What am I really fucking good at? And what do I actually think that is right and wrong, and what are my beliefs around my expertise? This is not just about your beliefs around the world or politics or whatever it is okay, this is what I know. What is out there that I do not agree with? And this is not just to be contrarian, but I was actually doing this with a friend when I was in Argentina, because she's a PT, like kinesiologist, and she does all the things. And I was kind of testing her on this, and she was like, I know, because people do this. I'm like, okay, that's what you need to be talking about. It's not just about what you know, but it's about what you believe. That is where you draw the line in the sand, right? About between you and everybody else.
Yeah. So I'm going to break it down to an example. So the three things that you're saying is that if you're struggling, so if you are struggling to clearly articulate what you do and why, then you need to work on like, what are your belief systems, right? Did anything happen to you at a point in your life where things felt unsafe? It doesn't necessarily, like Ati said, have to be abuse. And then what was the third thing?
So the third thing is like, what do you believe about the things in your industry, right? So like to kind of like chunk it down a little bit, one of the things is if you're having a really hard time, the commitment, that was the third thing, which was the committing to something for a while. And this is not, people confuse this with like, oh, niching down, or no. Write the things down that you want to talk about. Yeah. What do you believe about it? And commit to it for a little while. Because part of like the lack of being able to communicate something, same, you just did this. How do I chunk it down? Most people are assuming that other people know what they do, they know who they are. Okay, you need to chunk it down so much. It's like if you were speaking to a 5-year-old. Right? And then when you are starting to have, okay, you wrote it down, you have it in paper. This is like the typical, right? People do what I call procrastinating branding. They do all the clarity work. Yeah. But then they're not moving to actually put it out there and practice the work, which is creating the content, talking about it, testing different things, because that is when we feel unsafe, because we need to feel seen. And when you feel seen, and I'm not talking seeing with your eyes for the people like listening, is seen inside your belief system. And you're not going to be able to talk about these things if you don't practice. It's like everything.
Yeah. So there's something that I teach on. So success is actually simple, and the people that you look up to are literally just proof that you can do the thing too. The difference between them and you is that they are embodying 3 key things. They've decided that the thing they want is for them.
Yeah.
They believe that it's possible before they have any evidence, and they are willing to take daily consistent action to get there. So what you're saying, and what I see too and totally agree with, is that most people aren't willing to do the daily consistent action piece. Okay. But I want to give the listeners an example of almost like a tension belief. Okay. Because it's okay to create some contrast into like what we're supposed to believe. And if you disagree with it, it's actually a good thing because you're sharing from you. Okay. So I'll just use myself as an example to provide that. So I am a money coach. Right? I teach people how to make their money work harder than they do. And one of my stances is, why are you outsourcing your financial power to a financial advisor who learned how to do money in a book? Why aren't you working with somebody who has built and exited a company and has lived experience and actually applied the strategies that they are teaching? And so that's sort of my shtick, if you will, is like, okay.
But one thing that I kind of want to like, point in there, right?
Yeah.
We're also moving in this world, like the era that we live in.
Yeah.
We are moving from book authority, if you want to call it, the people that went to, like, I don't have a major in marketing. Like, I don't. And
Right.
I have a multiple 6-figure business. And like, there is people that went to school, worked at like these corporations that can't teach you fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here I had this epiphany the other day that kind of adds to this. So before we go there, let's bookend it. So start thinking about the thing that in your belief system really sets you apart, because that's where your magic is. Okay. So I can do the things that I do in my sleep because of lived experience. So if there's something you've lived, you are so equipped to teach it. And to go into now like moving from traditional schooling to, like Ati said, she has a multi 6-figure business. She didn't go to school. She doesn't have a marketing degree, right? And what this epiphany that I had the other day is that coaches, we are trade school for business.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
We're literally trade school for business because we are sharing our experience to help you collapse the timeline, but it's actually way more powerful. It's like getting the hands-on work where when you go, I mean, it's exactly why I dropped out of college, because my professor had never owned a business. And I'm like, well, why am I learning from you?
So part of that, okay, so when I actually went to school for photography while I was still bartending, and this was supposed to be a hobby, right? And that became a business. And like the two thing, I never graduated, and the two how to say, like subjects, how do you call them here? Subjects, okay, were business and portraiture.
Isn't that funny? There's always something. Okay, that's literally another connection.
I'm still friends with one of my teachers from school, and he always tells me there were 2 people that went out of that group of people that literally went and built a business. Everybody else either dropped off, they are doing something completely different. And I know the other girl, she's a friend of mine. She lives here in Vegas. And it's just crazy because it's not about what you learn in school. It's about how you go out into the world and you put yourself out there. And it all comes down to that internal system, that internal belief system. For me, I have a belief that I'm good at everything I do. I had that belief forever, right? So
and the thing is that, so if you're like, oh my gosh, that's me too, why aren't things happening? Well, it's probably because you aren't taking action. So belief is only one part of the ingredients, right? It's just like the saying, like someone can copy your recipe.
Oh my God.
But they don't have your sauce, right? Your sauce is your energy. It's your unique way of doing it. And so if you have the innate belief and you're like, I see this for me, I see myself on the stage, I see myself as the leader, I see myself with the big team, why isn't it happening? Well, because you're just embodying the belief, but you're not taking any action.
So I was having a conversation today with a client. She's fucking killing it. She's doing amazing. And one of the things that we were talking about is like the roller coaster, right? Of like, sometimes like you have these high months, and like the thing that we were celebrating is just into her third $8,000 month, right?
Yeah.
And like when she started working with me, she was like, a month I make 2,000, and a month I'll do 5,000, and then I never know what's happening.
Yeah.
And what we worked on wasn't necessarily on the sales skills. It was how do we keep this going every month without you killing yourself, without having that you always know what to do, what is next. What is next? So you can have the consistency that you're craving. But that is every single day. And usually it's so small that most people will not do the everyday work. And then they will come, they do something really big, see some result, but they are not willing to do it again.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you have to, it's you. I always say it's you versus you. Okay. So if something in your life isn't happening, it's not because of somebody else. It's not because the algorithm hates you. It's not because you're failing or you don't have what it takes. It's because you aren't deciding, believing, and acting all at the same time.
Let's talk about why people are showing up and they're not selling, because I know we promised that to people, and I think that this is like a mystery to most people, and I personally have a different take on it. Do you want to go in that direction?
So let's set the context then for the listeners. So the context is you are doing the things. You are showing up, you're taking action, you're posting every single day, you're writing the newsletters, you're showing up in your community, and things aren't converting. Go.
Okay, so a few things that I want to talk about that. The reality versus the perception that you are doing all the things. That is the first one that I want to tackle, because I do see these a lot. People tell me, they're like, I'm doing all the things and nothing is working. So the first question, before I actually tell you if you're truly doing everything, is, are you truly doing everything?
Yeah.
Because think about this. I ask my people, okay, tell me how many times did you post in the last week? Tell me how many times did you post in the last month? And tell me like how many times you showed up on your stories, and tell me how many emails you sent. Because perceived effort versus real action is not necessarily the same. Now, if we can take that out of the equation and you are truly doing all the things, but the reason why I bring that up is because I think that it comes down to when we are feeling like things are hard, which so many shit is
in the
hard.
mess, babe, for a reason.
Exactly.
Okay?
Shit is hard. It feels hard. That perception versus reality, like, it's super important. I have done this with myself too. I actually have a really, really good story about this. We are doing a lot of outreach for my upcoming event in September. And I decided to really double down on my Las Vegas people. So I started doing a DM campaign, and like 10 people told me, oh, I haven't seen it. When is it? Well, I'm fucking convinced. I'm running ads. I'm talking to everybody. I have my own event here in Vegas. Why isn't these people seeing it? Well, because we think that we're doing all the things. Obviously, that's the reason why I'm doing this DM campaign. But how many times you think you're doing all the things, but people still don't know about it? Right? So I think that like sometimes that perception, effort versus reality.
So let's do it for somebody who is, okay, they're really doing all the things, right?
Okay,
they're showing up consistently,
So
they're doing
I'm
stories,
telling you,
and people are liking, they're commenting, they're engaging, but nobody's buying from them.
Okay, so number one, I would look truly at how many times are you talking about your offer? Because you can be posting a lot of personal, like what I call human content. My human content, people eats it out. So for example, it was just full moon. I made like a cheeky thing about that. Oh my God, like 25 comments. Of course people are going to comment. Well, that doesn't mean that person is going to buy from me. That doesn't mean people are going to. Now, that's necessary to build that trust and to have people know who the fuck I am, right? As a person to bring the service that I bring, but that is not sales content. So I like to break my content, my emails, everything I do. I always do it in this sequence. We always do authority first. Authority is truly telling people what are they doing wrong. Like what I'm doing right now, what I'm telling you right now, authority content. Right? Hey, if you're not seeing sales and if you're sending 3 emails a week, you're posting every day, blah, 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 and it's not working, this is why. I am showing people that I know my shit. Yeah. The second one has a lot to do with what we just talked about earlier, is self-leadership. Yeah. I tell people I built a multiple 6-figure business without a marketing degree. And I teach people marketing, personal branding, and sales, right? So all of that is authority content. Now, for those people that are still posting like it's 2020, 3 tips to 4 ways of just let go of that. Go with your belief system. Identify in that clarity work. What is your expertise? What do you believe about it? And go from there. That is what's working in 2026. Number 2, self-leadership. How you have done what you are doing. I am sorry, but if you cannot show your own results, or you can think about this, right? If people come to me to build a personal brand and I'm never posting on social media, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. It's full of those people over there. Like there is so many of these people. Oh, I'm going to teach you X, but I'm doing this. I'm like, what? Like, sorry.
Yeah, no. There's got to be some alignment.
There has to be alignment.
So what you're showing, totally.
So everything that I am sharing right now, by the way, is built into buyer psychology. So I'm showing you what you need to do, why what you're doing is not working. I'm showing you how I got results. Then I'm going to show you how other people got results. This is storytelling, social proof, all of that. And then I'm going to tell you how I'm going to help you in that order.
Authority, trust.
Authority, self-leadership, right? Yeah. Social proof. And social proof can be, I don't want you to think of like the photo of a testimonial. Is more of a storytelling. There is so many ways that we teach to do that, but think social proof, storytelling, all of that. And then I'm going to show you how I can help you do that. And that sales post, that last post or email or whatever, right? Because this is not just about social media. The way I teach all of this is like, you can do this in person. You can do this through workshops. You can do this through so many things. Right? But the problem is people are usually missing one of those. Yeah. And then you have the human content. That is the glue. Yeah. The human content is what makes people fall in love with you, which this is where most people don't want to be themselves. They want to do the authority post. How many people are like, buy this, buy this, buy this? I'm like, please stop posting that. Like, you need to stop. There is a moment at a time, and you need to precede it with all the reasons why they want this.
Well, and when you're listening to this, you may be really nodding your head to 1 or 2 of the examples that she's giving. Like I know from speaking from personal experience, I was fine doing authority posts. I was fine doing connection posts and get to know me posts. What I realized is I wasn't really asking for sales often.
Yes.
And what's hilarious about that is like, I love sales. I have been in sales since I was 14 years old, and I begged my mom to help me work at the Arizona Republic to bang the phones and sell newspapers. And
that is so crazy to me. Okay. But people like, don't talk about their offer enough. So every month, and I teach this to my clients, I do a self-audit. Every single month, I do this. At the end of the month, today, I'll probably do it this afternoon. I look at my social media content. I look at how many emails I sent. I looked at I looked obviously my numbers, right? But the reason why I do that is because I'm like, okay, if I'm feeling fucking tired, because I don't know, I just got my period or something, is that real?
Yeah.
Is that real? Or did I really work this month? Did I really do what I said I was going to? Oh, not this month because I went on vacation too. So, but I left all these emails, right? To like go out and all these things to go out. And we did leave content to post. So my whole point is, you look back and you're like, oh, maybe maybe I was missing something here. I was missing something there. How many times did I talk about my offer? Yeah. Because people are not going to buy. You can tell them all this authority content, but if they don't know how to work with you, they're not gonna be in your DMs asking you.
Right. And you can't assume that people are seeing it when you ask. Like, that's the thing that I see the most with people, is they assume everybody is seeing it, and they're like, oh, I don't want to be too much, or I don't want to say it, or I already said it today, or I already did it in my post. I don't want to do it in my stories. I don't want to do both.
I don't want to be salesy.
People aren't seeing it.
People aren't watching. Just so you know. People are
worried about what they're putting out and whether people are seeing it.
So I want to share with you one of the biggest things that I know you do this, even if you don't know if you're doing it like conscious, but I know you do this because this is how we met. But one of the things that I teach people, especially in the first few years, and when I say few, I'm not talking year one. I'm talking people that already have an expertise, that they have been doing the thing for a while, 3-4 years, right? And in my opinion, the delusion that social media alone is going to make you multiple millions of dollars. I personally do not believe in that. I don't think this is a limiting belief. Okay, I think this is just a reality. And this is what I call my hybrid system, right? I think you were there when I did this on stage, which is building your own algorithm, which is, how can you accelerate the results of what you're putting online by building trust in person? Now, again, this can be also on Zoom. So for example, if you're networking on Zoom, or you are creating workshops, you are teaching things, and you always have something for people to invite people to, right? Things that build your authority, and now they raise their hand. Yes, I want that. And now they're in your court, and you can sell them in a way that feels very aligned. So I want you to think about this. So we met at a networking event, it wasn't a networking event. It was like an experience. Like a conference. I hate the word conference. I need a better word. Because I always say my event is not a conference, and then I find myself, it's a 2-day conference, because I don't know how else.
It's an experience.
Like an experience,
or an activation.
Right? A 2-day activation where you are truly getting engaged with people. Now, think about human behavior, not just buyer's behavior, human behavior. When you know somebody, you are 100 times more likely to comment on their stuff when they're showing their personality and give them support. Not just if you're a buyer, but if you are a new friend or a new acquaintance, to give them support in their content because you know them in person. Again, when I say in person, I want you to think you can also network in Zoom if you want. Yeah. Okay. Now, the reason for this is because now you're not depending on Instagram. You're doing all the things. So if you are the person that is sending the post, sending the emails, my question to you is, are you actually building real relationships? To shorten that, number one, I would look at that first. Number two, I would look at the sequence in how you're posting. If you leave on all in authority content, no sales. If you leave all on self-leadership, you're too full of yourself, right? Like, I need all of it. As a buyer, I need to see all of it. The other thing is, are you using social media to be social? So for example, I just shared earlier, one of the things that we're doing is we are DMing. So basically, this is a strategy. I took all my followers, we put Las Vegas on top, and we are DMing everybody, and it's very casual. Hey, these are followers, so this person knows me at some point. Hey, friend, I am hosting a personal branding, visibility, and sales event. Have you heard about it? I'm not sending a fucking long pitch. No, that's it. We're starting the conversation.
And I'm going to add something here that's been super helpful, that because you don't always want to make it about you, right? And the thing that you're doing. So when you're cold DMing, there's a method that I learned from one of my mentors and coaches, Erin King. It's called the pub method. So it's personal, useful, and brief. So when you're DMing, find something personal, look at their feed, find something to talk to them about that's about them. Start with them. Then make it useful. I noticed this in your content, tie it back to the thing that you want to share. That's how it would be useful for you to attend my event. Do you have any interest? Would you like more information?
Yes. So, and the reason why this is so important is because people are thinking that the piece of content alone is what does the job, and it doesn't. It's the glue. I love to think about content as the glue that brings it all together.
Right. So I love this because the outreach is so good. So you actually have something that helps people make their personal brand profitable. And it's a quiz that helps jumpstart things, and it leads into all of the fantastic other work that you do. So tell us about the Profitable Personal Brand Quiz.
So the quiz, for all the women that don't have that clarity, basically it is asking you 7 questions for you to know, am I at the beginning? Am I in the middle? Or am I actually advanced? And it's giving you a step for you to move forward and either get clarity, get more visibility, or what would be the thing that takes you to the next level. And you can get it. Yeah, you get it on my website.
We'll link everything here. But what's even better, because we were just talking about the importance of connection. And so if you want to start implementing some of the tools and tips that Ati shared with us today, then we need to see you at BU Brand Live. You have an event.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Be Real Live, personal branding, 10x your visibility, and sales engine. This is like my signature event, 2 days in Las Vegas. We have 15 speakers, workshops, on handwork, and we have made this year, like, we give so much space for people to connect, and like with curated experiences, because I know that when I go to events, I don't want to sit on a chair writing notes for 2 days straight. You are going to walk away with a 90-day plan in either your personal branding, your visibility, or your sales.
Incredible. And
September 11 and 12 in Las Vegas. I know this is going to come out. It's only maybe next week. Girl, just fucking come. Get on the car from Arizona, wherever you're at, and we'll see you there.
Take the action. Start doing the thing that we talked about. Take the action. So we'll link everything here in the notes. Ati, thank you so much for sharing your magic with us today and your genius. It was so lovely to chat with you. And Magic Makers.
Thank you so much for having me.
You. Yeah, of course. We'll see you next week. And be sure to go follow along with Ati. Go find her on Instagram. She is just a gem to follow. So thanks again, Ati.
Thank you.